Alright guys, my name is Faints, and today we're going to be going over some more PvP matches as always. So these were two literally insanely close. Like, I don't know, it was probably not as close as the Quick Claw ones. I don't know. It could have it was pretty close. Um, so the first one, my Zapdos put in the work. Like, let me tell you. Um, so this guy had four megas, and I was sitting here at two. I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess I'll play just because. I mean, I might lose if he plays his cards, or if he plays his card right, he's gonna win this. So he starts off with a Groudon, right? And I go for an Earthquake here because you can't take a risk against a Groudon. Like, it's such a strong Pokemon in this game that it's just you can't it's just too good to take a risk on. So I was expecting the Hidden Power Ice there, so I swapped into my Kyogre, and then I knew the Thunderbolt was coming, so I just switched into my Zapdos there. So I got the boost, but I just went for the Toxic here, and at the very beginning I didn't really get a too good of a look of his team, so I went for the double Toxic, and I should have known that he would swap into the Gengar. I probably should have predicted that and went for a Thunderbolt, but I didn't. So I was thinking, like, okay, Roost changes you into the normal type basically. After it like gets rid of your flying type, so like ice type moves and like rock type moves aren't effective, but like ground type moves will hit you. So I'm thinking, like, okay, if it gives you the attributes of a normal type, maybe the Shadow Ball wouldn't affect me, but it still did. So I was probably like, okay, I'm probably not gonna get much health back, so I just went for the Thunderbolt there. And so every Metagross carries an ice punch. Just know that. So I went immediately for the Roost because I knew that it was not going to do that much damage unless it critted me. So here I just went for another Roost and then finished it off with the Thunderbolt. So um, I forget who switches in here. I think okay, it's just a Zapdos. So I just go for the Toxic right here. But his Quick Claw activates, but he is already faster than me, so it really didn't mean anything. So I knew that I needed to switch out because um, odds are I wasn't gonna live that. So I just went into my Kyogre, and I was like, I might as well just let him die because I might as well stall out the toxic damage. So here I go into my Dragonite, and it took me a while to debate if I wanted to go Protect or like Outrage here, expecting the switch. I would have protected to stall out the toxic there, but it took me a while. It took me like all 10 seconds of the move time, but I ended up going for the Protect, and of course he swapped out. So I kind of made a mistake there, but I didn't really want to take a risk at this point. I was already ahead, and I was like, I don't want to risk anything. So I just went for the outrage there, and it does an insane amount to that Giratina, and I was like, I mean, this is like he's only green, so I guess that would make sense. Plus only level 57, so I just went for the Roost here, and I actually got. I expected him to do more damage than he actually did, but he didn't. So I just went for a Thunderbolt here, and then here I was expecting him to swap into his Zapdos because that would have been a really good move. So I went with my Heat Wave, and it doesn't take him out. So I was kind of bummed with that. Like, look at that, he lives on such a little amount of health. But I think I roost here, yeah, because I was like, I might as well get the extra health there, and I just go for a Thunderbolt because I knew that it wasn't gonna switch out. So here, I think he sends in the Dragonite. Um, yeah, and so like I don't want to take an Outrage, so I switch into my Steelix because he's an absolute tank. And he crits me first round. I'm like, okay, I'll be fine as long as he doesn't crit me again, and I can get rid of his multi-skill. And then he crits me again, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are the odds? Like, this Dragonite got so lucky in this battle. Like, the stuff that I was pulling off, like, was crazy. Okay, so I take it pretty bad. I just go for a Toxic here to get rid of his berry, and then he will be confused. So I was like, all right, hopefully he hits himself, and he does, gets rid of the multi-scale, and then I do actually a really decent amount of damage with that Dragon Claw, and then he gets rid of his confusion in one turn. Like, what is that? So he ends up taking me out, taking me out right there, and I'm like, okay, please hit Dragon Rush, and it did, and I was like, oh god, like if I miss that would have been game. But here he sends out the Zapdos. I'm like, okay, he's going for a hidden power ice, so I switch to mine, and I just roost here. Oh, but look at the damage. Okay, he does a huge amount of damage. I'm like, okay, this guy is gonna do, this guy is gonna take me out, and it must have been like minimum damage because I don't think I should have lived that, to be honest. But I was like, oh my god, how did I live that? So I was going crazy. Um, Again, not literally, like I wasn't screaming or anything because that'd be weird. But as you can see, like my Zapdos put so much work in against this team, so I just went for a Toxic there, and he starts setting up, and I'm like, man, you know that I have Toxic, like that's just gonna kill you. So I just he went for another bulk up, which really made me confused. So I just went for a roost here, and I'm like, this should be game, and I mean he wasn't even doing over half health with those stone edges. So that was pretty much game. Right here, I ran out of PP for my roost, so I had to go for a heat wave. So he ended up taking me out um, with the stone edge, but the severe poison takes him out. So if I was him, I would definitely have gone with fire punches because it's stronger in the heat, and the plus the stone edge has a chance to miss. So just the add, like plus the roost, so like just the stuff was adding up against him. So so this second one was literally 29 minutes ago, as you can see on that. But this one was crazy. Okay, so this one literally couldn't have been closer. Like at the very end, I got so like aggravated towards this thing. So okay, so he sends up Zapdos. I know hidden power ice, so I switched to my Kyogre. Same deal. Then I switched to my Zapdos to absorb the Thunderbolt. So you know, same thing. At the very beginning, it's pretty good. It works basically every time. I haven't played against somebody who it's like not worked with. So it's a super effective hidden power ice, but of course I tank it pretty well. So so I just kept going for a Toxic, and I went for a Thunderbolt there because I thought he was gonna switch out to his Mega Gengar because that's what most people would do. That's what I would do in that situation at least. But he ended up just staying in, so he ended up getting that boost. But it really didn't matter because I kept like I was faster, so I kept roosting and negating the damage of the hidden power ice. Why is that there? I'm on do not disturb. So here I'm not dealing with this Tyranitar because those things are really crazy. So his Rock Slide misses, and I got actually really lucky with that miss. So I go for a Hone Claws, and just wait. He ends up having Ice Beam for a Tyranitar. Like he crits me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I swapped out because like I didn't want to risk not taking the Tyranitar out, but like Tyranitar is a physical attack Pokemon, so like why would you ever run a special move there? But there I it took me another while to think like, am I gonna go for the Hydro Pump or should I go for the Thunder? And I went for the Thunder last second, and I predicted that swap into the Milotic, which was really nice. So I was like, maybe I can live this Outrage, and I ended up living like really on like really low health. So I just went for the Ice Beam, and it almost actually took him out with the multi-scale still activated. So I went in with my Zapdos here, and I just went for a Thunderbolt because it's half flying and it doesn't resist on lightning moves anymore. So here's the Tyranitar again. So I'm like, okay, he might expect me to go Garchomp and go for an Ice Beam, and that's exactly what he did. So I switched it to my Onix and or my Steelix, and I take the the ice beam decently, and here my quick claw activated, and I was like, oh man, this is perfect. And he lives like literally on the littlest bit of health. Like I don't know what it is with this episode and thing and Pokemon living on like the smallest bit of health, but this is just one of those episodes. So here I'm up 4-2, but he has 2 megas and I have one severely damaged mega and another I don't know how my Zapdos is doing at this point, but I just went for that Dragon Rush, hoping that it would hit because it obviously has Levitate, and it did. So I was really lucky with that, and I just went for an Outrage here, and I got really lucky with the Outrage. I wasn't sure if it would take it out, but it's only Gengar. It only had the green upgrade, which you guys you need if you're gonna mega somebody, you need it to be like green +2 or blue before you get another one. I'm gonna be honest here, like it's vital to get that. So this Ho-Oh, right? So this is where it gets like super unlucky for me. So this Ho, right? It has Brave Bird, the 1 turn one, and it's doing it's doing some decent damage to me, and I'm like, okay, I can take one more with my Giratina and then Toxic, um, and then go for the Shadow Force, and I'll be all good, right? And so I go for a Toxic, it misses, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. So he goes for the Brave Bird, and I take it when I was planning on tanking it, but he ends up critting me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. Like I can lose here because it's like half and half. So he goes for Sacred Fire. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is doing a decent amount of damage, and I go for another Toxic, and it misses again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally the worst luck right now. I can probably lose it right now. And so I'm just like, okay, I just need a roost. Like that's the only thing I can do. And so if you don't know, Sacred Fire has like a 50% chance of burn. So I'm like, okay, so he just burned my berry, and then the turn after that, I get burned. So I'm like, okay, this is really bad. Like I don't think I'm gonna win this. So but I knew that Sacred Fire only had 5 PP, and I'm like, okay, if I can stall this out, I'll be good. And so he now starts going with the Brave Birds, and I'm doing really well against that. So I just keep a roosting, because he's gonna take recoil damage, and I knew that I should be okay. So here I go for a Toxic, and I'm like, please live, and don't crit me. And I live, and the burn gets me in the red. Like it gets me low. Like hang on. All these words. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Like such a small bit of health again. But I just keep going for a roost here, and I'm like, okay, man. I think I had like 2 more roosts available at this point. Um, he crits me there, which was like devastating. I was so I was really hoping that I could get enough. So I think this is my last one right here. Oh no. So I just used my last one, and then the poison damage took him far enough for me to be able to Thunderbolt. But if it like that Toxic came in clutch, like my Zapdos came in clutch for both things, but they were both way too close for comfort. Like oh man, I don't know what to say about those. Um, but yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. That was pretty much it. I don't really have much else to show. Yeah, show you guys. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, definitely leave a thumbs up. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. But as always, my name is Faints on behalf of Master Guild Server 39, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.